But let's get to the scrimmage, which we may see one this Saturday, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Another one this Saturday?
And that's what I was alluding to, Mark. The scrimmage was held this last Saturday in Doak. It's kind of a cold day, a little windy kind of day. I don't know if you had a lead into it, Mark, if you had something going into it, but
I got nothing except the boys scrimmaged, and we need your take on it. Then we'll get to Jason.
You were the only one there, so we need your help, man.
Well, I had too many shots on Friday night. I'm just kidding. No, Saturday was fun. It felt good to be back inside Doak. There was only maybe about 30 people. A good amount of recruits were there. Of course, all the credentialed media was there too. But got to see the guys in pads, got to see the early enrollees in person. First comes up to me a guy that doesn't look like he's a early enrollee right now is Joshua Burrell. We've heard a lot about him, the wide receiver. Jason, we've talked about him. He's made some catches that we've seen when the players were allowed to share footage. That has stopped abruptly. I think Norvell was not too happy with that, just like James was talking about a few weeks ago. That got cut off. But Joshua Burrell looks like a junior. And there's just a lot of things. The running back unit is one that I was looking to see how well Corbin was doing along with DJ Williams, who just arrived, and just seeing how these guys looked. But, the best running back in the room right now, and this is something we've been noting online and everything, is Treshaun Ward, the walk-on running back. He looked like the best running back in the room, and this wasn't really a shocker to me. We've seen him have some flashes in some games, but the thing is, we hear about him in practice all the time, and the really thing that was hindering him is getting that playbook down. It's more of a mental thing for him, but he was by far the best, probably the best player. He was the best player during Florida State's scrimmage. There was a lot of there'd be different cycles. So the first quarterback was Jordan Travis. He led them down to a touchdown in a matter of maybe under 10 plays, made the defense look a little out of sorts. But Jordan Travis led a nice drive down. I believe he hit Ontario Wilson on a quick, easy slant to start off the scrimmage. And then just a little bit later, we got to see Mackenzie Milton. Was a little off. Wasn't really with it as much. Short passes, weren't getting to his receivers. But there was a drive, though, where Norvell put Mackenzie Milton on the 3-yard line, heading the opposite way, of course, and led them down for a touchdown on a long drive against the starting defense for Florida State. So took him a little bit to warm up, but, quarterbacks-wise, everybody looked about the same. I'd say Jordan Travis had the best out of all of them, but Roadmaker didn't look too terrible. Threw an interception, but Roadmaker looks a lot more composed than he had, that we've seen him definitely in games, but he's more composed, reading the defense, having call-outs. But yeah, just a very, very, and you can tell the structure of these scrimmages, it's so damn organized. I've never seen, Mike Norvell's cussing out his coaches because they're stepping off from the sideline while they're running plays. He's calling out his coaches, telling them, what are we doing? What are you doing? What's going on? Just very organized, because you'll go into doing, there'll be different guys going in and out, but then boom, you're going into a special teams practice. Like, you'll just go into a drill that guys are in there that gives some of the position coaches times to talk to the starters, go through what they're seeing, things that are changing. So it's about 3 hours of straight nonstop, and then you'll have a few meetings here and there, but you're still doing a special teams or something still going on 24/7. So,
Logan, question for you: who would you say, judging by, and you talk about the quarterbacks, obviously Chuba Purdy is not going to be taking part of the spring as he recovers from his surgery. Which player would you say overachieved the most during the scrimmage and underachieved the most? Who surprised you and who kind of maybe disappointed you a little bit as far as individual players or positions? What were your thoughts?
Someone that maybe surprised, I would still say it was really impressive to see Treshaun Ward be a walk-on and lead the running backs there. Corbin was kind of hindered at the beginning of the scrimmage, so we didn't get to see a lot of him, along with DJ Williams. I believe both of them were they got kind of nicked at the beginning, and the staff didn't want them out there much longer. But Trayshawn Ward was more impressive to me than Toa Philly. Toa Philly still had a solid scrimmage, and he always has those up the middle plays where he can use his speed. But Trayshawn Ward just has better vision than I think most of the running backs in this stable right now. And, it's between Preston Daniel and probably him on who's going to get that next scholarship. I thought it was just going to be solidified that Preston Daniel, the walk-on tight end, was going to get it. But Trayshawn Ward is working himself up there. Someone that maybe, I don't know if I have someone that was like maybe not so impressive to me. I'm going through because I was doing like play-by-play here inside of our Discord. But someone that maybe wasn't so impressive. I mean, we've talked a ton about Jermaine Johnson. He was back there a little bit, but he didn't really have a huge, fantastic day. There was no one that had a bad day at this scrimmage. I know there's just a lot of talk about Jermaine Johnson, the hype there, and Florida State's wanting to get that pass rush, but Florida State's offensive line did look solid for the most part during the first couple series when they had a full set on that line. They were leading blocks. They had a good running game going. I mean, they led down and scored right away with Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis had a very nice ball to Terry Wilson on the sideline, right where he could only grab it. And it was a beautiful ball. And Terry Wilson made a fantastic catch too. But that's something that, we've been talking about where over the shoulder balls from Jordan Travis, he struggled with, but he landed a perfect one that kept that drive going. I believe that was 3rd and long. So I don't know if anybody had like a too terrible of a game or scrimmage, I should say, but the spring is more of learning, I think, than anything. And the first one, things will definitely, I think, change. I'll probably have someone that I'll call out if they had a bad scrimmage after this next one on Saturday morning, but it's just more of the newbies getting in there, but you also want to see the chemistry between McKenzie and Milton. If it was something that wasn't too impressive, I'd probably say Milton's first scrimmage, but then again, he led a 97-yard drive with a new team during the spring. And so you take that.
Do you think they asked him to do a lot, or in terms of throws, difficult throws?
For Milton, for all 3 quarterbacks, there wasn't really a big change in the play calling. I know Roadmaker actually had most time of any quarterbacks out there. I don't know if that's because, you got your probably 2 potential starting guys, but Roadmaker was out there for a very large amount of the scrimmage. And he looked fine. He had one, he had a few bad balls, but one that was intercepted, but he was out there for a majority of the time for the quarterbacks. But I don't think there was much of a change between, Milton and the different maybe routes or different kind of packages they were going against Adam Fuller with. But both quarterbacks, I think they were set at the same mark between under Norvell and Dillingham.
What about on the defensive side of the ball? You talked a lot about the offense, but what do you see both from the defensive side of the ball as well as some of the early enrollees and some of the transfers who came in, how they performed so far?
Yep. So Jermaine Johnson definitely looks like he's come from the SEC. That's a big boy. And he did get back there. He did get back there quite a bit. It's always tough whenever you're like, he's rushing. I feel like some of these plays should be called dead because he's back there. I think he's going to be able to grab a sack. But Jermaine Johnson's a big cat. I thought probably for me defensively, who impressed me the most physical was lockdown, jamming his guy. It was Jamie Robinson, the transfer from South Carolina. He was very physical on the line with his receivers that he was faced up against. He had one big hit on it was Cameron McDonald. Cameron McDonald is not a little kid. Cameron McDonald's a big boy, tight end, and Jamie Robinson lit him up, kind of energized the defense there. But from his coverages that I'd watch on him, definitely in red zone, there was no way the ball was going to go near them over there. It was just under lockdown too much. So I think Jamie Robinson, to me, defensively during that scrimmage, impressed me the most. There was a few guys. I mean, Quashon Fuller, had a very nice scrimmage. Big hit, practically laid out a dude on goal line, but he was getting after the quarterback for a good amount of Saturday morning. Someone that flashed who, wasn't, some of these guys will flash, but Quashon Fuller along with Josh Griffiths, two, I guess you could say, backup tight ends right now, or tight ends, defensive ends right now that, they really want to get some playing time. So it's good to see these two cats behind Jermaine Johnson. Keir Thomas wasn't out there, so a lot of the Quashon Fuller and Griffiths got a lot of time. So the Quashon Fuller and Griffiths had a nice day too. So I thought we'd see a lot of Gainer. Gainer was out there a lot, but not many big flashes. He did have one big hit, but other than that, I'm trying to think defensively.
I give you credit, man. Between your drinking and the fact that you were able to remember nothing Saturday, I'm very impressed.
I'm impressed.
I was doing inside of our Discord here. We're able to go through like a mic on here, so I'd have my AirPods in, so I'd be there doing play-by-plays, telling our people there was maybe like 30 people listening to me, so I'd be telling them what's going on, play-by-play, and then Dustin's in here, which I'm reading off of. He's got probably 2,000 words of things. He's doing play-by-play with text going on, so that's kind of like what I'm going through the timeline of what's going on. Like Milton finds a wide open Cameron McDonald in the middle of the zone for nearly 30 yards. True Thompson got a sack.
You're impressive. I was too busy watching us kick Miami's butt in baseball. You were out here at football series.
It's just good to be back around football, man. I just like the yelling. Definitely when there's not a lot of people there, you get to hear the coaches. Really, I mean, Coach Atkins is really impressive to hear whenever you're right there. I mean, when we were leaving the stadium, he was making the offensive linemen do up downs. Just wasn't happy, I guess, with the day, or just maybe it's just a small thing and he's just strict like it is. But Dante Lucas was kind of hindered in the middle of the scrimmage, but that doesn't matter. He had Dante Lucas doing sit-ups while they were doing up downs.
So the offensive line coach wasn't happy with the offensive line's play.
I hope he just has any.
But yet I get attacked in this room for saying the same thing.
Sir, I told you they had a solid first couple of drives when the starting unit was out there, and then after that it was switching out multiple second string. We got walk-ons in, but the first couple of drives, I mean, Deshaun Ward looked like Reggie Bush. I'm joking, but whoa. I'm joking. But, either way, you could have a great day, and there could be just one little screw-up, and that's just what a coach does. You're going to have to eat it.
One little screw-up, losing by 32 points to Louisville. It's just anything can happen.
Well, Jason,
yes,
in 98 shows, I think there's a few things we've learned about Logan besides his drinking habits. We know that he loves coaches who get in guys' face and yell at them. He loves guys working out. He's all about, let's get in the weight room. Let's see what they're doing in the weight room. Let's see if they've improved their bodies over the off season. Yeah, he loves guys getting blown up.
I love
seeing
it.
that.
Yeah,
he loves chicken.
I'm staying on the football field here. Okay, we got the drinking, the chicken covered. Yeah.
I was going to note on here too, a player that I really didn't see come off the field was true freshman wide receiver Malik McLean from IMG. He was out there by far the most player on the field. I mean, it didn't matter which quarterback was in there, which offensive line, whichever package or second string walk-ons. He was on the field for a majority of the time, which I thought was pretty interesting because I was hearing some things during tour of duty and things that he really needed to, get right, get his mental state right. But, Norvell and Dillingham and Ron Dugans, they threw him out there for a majority of that scrimmage, not even a majority, like 90% of it. And he had a really nice day too. Him and Roadmaker connected on a few balls. And he's fast too. I believe right here I've got a Roadmaker to McLean for about 25 yards. And I think that was on the mix of the first and second string defense at this point of the scrimmage. So
let's thank Dustin for his transcribing there.
That's really what, this right here, he kills it. I think he needs to go into like when you go to court, he can be the one that's just sitting there typing.
The word is stenographer.
Well, yeah. Well, you say it, and I just kind of explain it. So you say the word for me, and I just kind of explain it.
It's a big word.
Gainer lit up Toa Philly, which is good stuff. Toa Philly also doesn't look like he's gained a pound.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, there's so many. It's just so good to be back in stadium and players getting cussed out, big hits. There was music in the background. There was music behind the whole time. But this is kind of Norvell's game plan. So what he's doing is he's bringing recruits. He's opening the scrimmage up so you can bring recruits into the stands. And what he did, so the PA came up and said, after the scrimmage, you can come down and take pictures on the field. So what the team did, they had their scrimmage, they left, and then recruits all went down and took pictures in the middle and Bobby Bowden the field.
Logan acted like a recruit. He went down and took some pictures too.
I went to go get Chick-fil-A. Get some Chick-fil-A.
The official sponsor of New Game.
But it's just all a game plan. That's because no one can visit right now. They can't official visit. So what Norvell's doing is he's going to do this again on Saturday. There's a ton of Nico Marchiol's coming in town this weekend. And it's just going to be kind of big recruiting weekend. Come watch scrimmage, listen to music. That's their taste. And so, yeah, that's just kind of what Norvell's game plan is right now, at least for this spring, heading into the spring game on April 10th. And it's kind of smart.
Hopefully it's my collection of music, a little Pop Smoke, a little, The Baby,
That's your I always thought you were saying, I thought you were going to go a whole different direction. But
no.
I respect that. Pop Smoke.
I don't listen to that Leonard Skinner like you and Mike Norvell.
Yeah.
Music there, so. Now, I will give Logan some credit. He did call it Bobby Bowden Field. He didn't call it by what its soon-to-be former name.
Let's head in that direction here.
Logan has already changed.
If we're done with the scrimmage. But we'll remind everyone, this is Florida State Seminoles Live every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock Eastern Time, unless Logan's got alternate plans, and then we shift the show for him. But otherwise, it's Wednesday night, 6 o'clock Eastern Time.